From our studio located in Madison, New Jersey, this is Real Good News.
I'm like the man they call a seeker. I'm a real truth speaker, and I always cut right to the core. And you know I really ask, cause I get right to the facts and get the answer to what I'm looking for. I can pronto play a liar, I'm a tireless and quiet. I've been a furious thinker since my youth. My motives on above ground. I've always been a bloodhound for the truth. The truth. You can lie, you can run, but the truth is like a
Welcome back to another episode of Real Good News. I'm your host, Lisa Allen. On today's episode, Steve Lebekin will speak with Andrea Jayamolva, the Chief Medical Officer of Experity, about using AI in the urgent care practices. Tommy Nonamaker joins us with his coverage of local sports. We'll hear from our friends over at Healthy in the Garden State. And later on, Alan Swanson takes a look at e-bikes and the strong enforcement actions taking place across our state. But first, today we want to welcome Georgette Castro to our news team. Georgette brings a bright energy, a polished presence, and a genuine passion for local news. We're thrilled to have her with us and know you'll enjoy the perspective that she brings to our coverage. Welcome, Georgette.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a pleasure to be here supporting local news. I want to begin with breaking news from Madison. After weeks of concern and speculation following his recent health scare, longtime Madison cobbler Jamie was seen back in his shop today. A member of Real Good News team spotted him inside on Friday, catching up on few things behind the counter. But while his presence brought relief to many, Jamie made it clear that he's not reopening just yet. Cobbler Shop on Waverly Place in Madison will remain closed through October, with plans to reopen in mid-November. This site is the first sign of progress since his family's September's update, when they assured the community that Jamie was doing well and taking time to rest. Today's development confirmed that he's steady recovering and preparing for the day when he and Fran will again open and welcome neighbors and friends back into their shop.
Union County has announced a new executive order banning motorized vehicles, including e-bikes, electric scooters, and motorized scooters from all county parks. The order was unveiled at a press conference with Senate President Nick Scutari and county officials who described it as an important step towards improving public safety in shared spaces. The move has already drawn mixed reactions. Some see it as a necessary measure to make parks safer for walkers, joggers, and families. But others argue that the order is too restrictive and unfair to residents who use e-bikes and scooters for mobility or commuting. The debate is expected to continue as the county works to amend its code and put enforcement measures in place. Alan Swanson will be reporting on this developing story later in this episode.
Robert Grant was celebrated in Parsippany as he remarked his retirement after 22 years of dedicated service on Morris County Head Start Board, where he served the majority of time as president. Under his leadership, the program experienced major growth and transformation. Head Start doubled in size, launched an early Head Start program, partnered with local school districts to expand public pre-K options, and completed significant renovations that improve facilities for children and families across the country. The retirement ceremony was filled with gratitude and heartfelt moments. Children presented him with tributes, including personal letters expressing thanks for the opportunities he created for them to learn and thrive. Local officials praised his vision and persistence in advocating for early education, crediting him with helping to secure state support and move children from waiting lists into classrooms. As part of the celebration, the community honored his contributions with a lasting gesture, renaming one of the facilities as Robert C. Grant Head Start Center of Morris County. The tribute cements his legacy and recognizes more than 2 decades of service devoted to giving children the strongest possible start.
The Union County Board of County Commissioners and the Master Gardeners of Union County have awarded their 2025 Master Gardener Scholarship to Thomas Mui, a graduating senior from UC Tech in Scotch Plains. He was recognized for his passion for environmental science, his leadership in the Future Farmers of America, and his strong academic record, which includes courses at Kean University. Thomas plans to attend Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute to study civil engineering with a focus on sustainability. The scholarship is designed to support students pursuing fields such as plant science, ecology, and sustainability, and highlights the county's commitment to encouraging the next generation of environmental leaders.
Once again, Madison is encouraging the community to repair rather than replace. On October 11, the Rotary Club and Grace Church will host the Repair Café from 11 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon at Grace Church Rec Hall on Madison Avenue. Skilled volunteers will be hands-on to help on all sorts of fixes, including bicycles, clothing, electronics, lamp, small furniture, and even toys. The event is completely free and open to everyone, with service offered at first-come, first-served basis. The goal is to keep useful items out of the landfills, save people money, and bring neighborhoods together in spirits for resourcefulness and care for the environment.
Union County is offering a free workshop titled Marketing Success on Any Budget for nonprofit organizations on Wednesday, October 22nd from 3 o'clock to 4:30 p.m. via Zoom. The session will be led by Nancy Sargent, founder of Sargent Marketing, and will focus on strategies nonprofits can use, even with limited resources, to increase engagement, define goals, track KPIs, and scale marketing efforts. Participants will receive a follow-up video after the workshop summarizing key lessons and next steps. The county encourages organizations that receive county-level arts or history grants to attend, but the workshop is open to all New Jersey nonprofits. The initiative is backed by funds from the New Jersey State Council on the Arts and National Endowment for the Arts.
Local high school sports are about to get a big boost. The New Jersey Hills Network has announced that games will soon be streamed live on their website, giving families, friends, and fans a new way to follow their hometown teams. That means that parents who can't make it to the field, alumni living out of state, or even neighbors who just want to cheer up from home will be able to tune in and support local athletes. It's an exciting change that not only puts more eyes into the players, but also brings community closer together. Schools are working with coaches and athletic directors to get the equipment and the schedules lined up. And the reaction so far has been pure excitement. And that brings me to the story on local news. When a local paper or news program shines a light on government decisions, it creates accountability. People can see who's making the choices on their behalf and why. Without that coverage, important decisions slip under the radar. Across communities that have lost local news outlets, studies show a rise on on-racket corruption, higher borrowing costs for towns, and a steep down in voter engagement. The absence for local news shows up in lives for people who suddenly feel disconnected from what's happening around them. In New Jersey, the need is especially clear. Each town has its own identity, its own issues, and its own people working to make a difference. A story about a new zoning rule in Madison or a public health concern in Summit matters deeply to people living there. National news won't cover it, but for the families affected, it's everything. Local news carries that weight and puts faces and names to decisions and increases accountability and oversight. Communities across the world face the same reality. Whether a village in Europe or a town in Asia or a county in the US, people depend on local reporting to feel grounded in their surroundings. Local news builds trust because it's about shared experiences and the same roads, the same schools, the same challenges and celebrations. It creates a bond between neighbors and strengthens the idea that people are in this together. Local news is critical infrastructure, as vital as school, roads, or utilities. It provides information, sparks dialogue, and builds community pride. Without it, people lose sight of what unites them. With it, Communities in New Jersey and across the globe thrive because they are informed, connected, and empowered to act. So thank you to everyone who supports this show. And now we are bringing you a segment from Healthy in the Garden State by Kate Terricello-Tente.
As we explore the incredible range of health resources across the Garden State, it's become clear that even our full-length monthly episodes of Healthy in the Garden State can't capture it all. That's where this Dose of Health mini-series comes in. Every 2 weeks, we'll introduce you to inspiring individuals working to improve the physical, mental, and emotional well-being of New Jersey residents.
People will say, oh, I'm very consistent. I go to bed at 11 o'clock. I wake up at 6:30, and Monday through Friday, I'm good to go. Then on the weekends, maybe they're sleeping 2 hours later. And that is something, first of all, if you're able to sleep, if you're sleeping until say 6:30 in the morning, and then on the weekend, you're finding yourself sleeping in a couple hours, that's your body saying you're trying to catch up on some sleep and you're not getting enough sleep during the week. So if you want to sleep in, it's more like a half hour where you don't have to wake up with that alarm clock and you're like, oh, but it should really be very similar 7 days a week. That whole catch up doesn't happen.
Host Kate Terricello-Tente, and I'm thrilled to bring you these individuals creating positive change in our communities. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube at Healthy in the Garden State to catch every new release, and visit healthyinthegardenstate.com for even more health-forward resources.
Hey, Real Good News. I'm back with some more news in high school sports. So kick off your Sunday if you're living around Parsippany with a delicious breakfast for a great cause. The Parsippany High School girls soccer team is hosting a flapjack fundraiser on Sunday from 8 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. at Applebee's in Parsippany. It's just $15 a person, and it's for a great cause. Attendees can enjoy a hearty meal with pancakes, scrambled eggs, sausages, and a beverage. And all proceeds will go towards the senior banquet and scholarship fund of the Parsippany team. So be sure to pop out for that one. We've also got some exciting news in boys soccer with a dramatic finish on the field Monday afternoon as Whippany Park pulled off a thrilling victory over Mountain Lakes in the NJAC Liberty Boys soccer action. Senior forward Rocco Rizzatello was the hero for the Wildcats when he scored both goals, including the golden goal in double overtime or extra minutes to lift Whippany Park to a 2-1 win. With the win, Whippany Park improves to 7-3 to 1 tie overall and 5-1 in conference play, while Mountain Lakes falls to 3-6-1 on the season. Good luck, guys. Hope you guys have a great season. Building on that momentum, Whippany Park boys soccer, who is having just an outstanding season, heads to a local rival clash on Saturday as they host Hanover Park in the opening round of the Morris County boys soccer tournament. Kickoff is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. at Whippany Park High School. By the time this comes out, we will know the winner of that match, but we wish you guys the best of luck, as it is quite an exciting matchup. It's intensity because Whippany Park's looking to capitalize on home field advantage, and Hanover Park is aiming to pull off an early round upset. It's familiar foes in the NJAC, and it's an exciting contest on Saturday. Supporters from across the community are invited to pack the stands, rally behind their teams in one of the tournament's most anticipated first-round games. A little bit of Jets news. Tomorrow, Sunday, October 5th, the New York Jets head against the Dallas Cowboys at MetLife Stadium, 1 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Expect a loud building and a classic NFC-AFC clash. On the Jets side, unfortunately, we have edge rusher Jermaine Johnson, our star. He's in a game-time decision with an ankle issue, and also corner Michael Carter II remains out with a concussion. Factors like that could impact New York's pass rush and slot coverage. But that's the New York Jets. We'll see, hoping for our first win of the season, unfortunately. We'll see how that goes. Back to you. Thanks, Real Good News.
Now let's turn it over to Steve Lebekin, who speaks with Andrea Giamolva, the Chief Medical Officer at Experity, about how urgent care practices are putting AI to work, from triage and staffing to documentation and patient follow-up.
Thanks, Lisa. The next time you walk into urgent care, you might not be greeted by a receptionist. You might be greeted by artificial intelligence. We are talking today with Andrea Giamalva, the Chief Medical Officer of Experity. That's a company that provides a technology backbone behind 22 of the 25 largest urgent care enterprises in the U.S. And now they've come out with a clinical intelligence solution, they call it, that will help people achieve the results they want when they go to urgent care. Andrea, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what Experity does with urgent care companies and how you are hoping to transform it by using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so Experity really has what we would describe as an entire ecosystem of products and solutions for our urgent care providers across the country. One of the most exciting things that we're working on is what we're calling the unportal at this point. It is a way to interact with patients beyond the visit. So there might be components that are happening within the visit, but that's kind of old hat. That's old news. That's what we've been doing in healthcare all along. But really finding those ways to capture the entire patient journey. And using what we consider the unportal as a way to do that in a fashion that they're able to engage when they're ready and on their terms and not have to remember a password or a login or download an app that they have permanently on their phone. And that would interact with all of the solutions that we already have in place, things like e-registration, the electronic medical record, the bill pay options that we have, all coordinated in a way that the patient is able to seamlessly interact with all of that.
So walk me through the process. How does it work for people who essentially are casual users of urgent care? Urgent care has become sort of the substitute for going to the emergency room when you have something that comes up suddenly.
Absolutely. And you raised the most important point of all, which is that most users of urgent care are what we would call casual or kind of here and there, and not really interested in having that continuity of care connection to their clinic, hence not interested in maybe downloading an app or having a portal that they have to remember all this information for. So what it looks like right now today with clinics that we've already piloted with is that after a patient leaves a visit, they immediately get a text message that initiates a agentic conversation with them. So they can get their discharge paperwork and they immediately can click on that link, enter their last name, date of birth, and have access to that information without having to, again, kind of engage in that I'm connected, I'm committed to this clinic per se. And then beyond that, our next phase, which is rolling out in the next week, is that those lab results that maybe you were waiting on or waiting for a phone call, or maybe some people even drive all the way back to the clinic to get, you can simply receive by that care agent unportal, which is that connection to you through your cell phone number. Again, last name, date of birth. Quickly enter that and you're able to see those results. Future iterations will be things like that pre-registration component. So again, thinking of the patient in this circular approach of it's not just a linear start to finish. Patients have care needs that happen at any point in time. And so the next time that patient needs care, they're able to connect and engage with that agentic agent and say, hey, is there availability today? Get registered for that appointment. Maybe that next phase and tier is to do triage questions, have those questions teed up for the patient so that that provider has information before they even walk in the door. And additionally, on the provider side, not just thinking about how this can help improve and enhance the patient experience, but also the provider experience. So what types of AI technologies we can lean into to do things like summarize that patient, a patient you've never met before, right? This is urgent care. So the likelihood is you've never met the patient before. So really bringing all of that information front and center in an AI format, summarizing, saying, here's your patient you're about to meet, gathering information from outside sources and being prepared and much more in tune to what the patient might need when they walk through those doors.
So after the patient is seen in the urgent care, does the artificial intelligence platform look at the results and make any recommendations for further treatment?
So we are not engaging AI to make clinical decisions. That is a great question. I think a common question that patients especially are concerned about, and even providers for that matter. So at this juncture, AI is simply enhancing or providing additional support to the clinical decision-making that needs to happen and really trying to remove any and all friction of that administrative burden and administrative workload that has historically really pulled back the ability to see more patients and get more patients seen where they need to be seen at the right time as well. So again, kind of continually shaving away at those extra minutes, those extra hours that all add up and essentially add up to not being able to see more patients when we already know there's a massive supply and demand issue in the healthcare industry as it is.
Some of the concerns that we see coming up with artificial intelligence applications tend to be around hallucinations. The artificial intelligence somehow makes up facts about the situation.
Right.
How are you guarding against that kind of thing happening in a medical setting?
Yeah, very great question. So the most important thing is to set those guardrails in place from the start. And those guardrails for us are that the truth comes from the electronic medical record that we already, provide to these clients across the country, and that this platform is engaged and integrated into. So what that means is that the agentic agent would not be able to provide any information beyond what is explicitly in that format, so to speak. So if the question in the future might be, hey, how many times in the last year did I come in with strep throat? It would be able to summarize that information, send it over to the patient, but then it's not going to tell the patient, because of this, you should see XYZ. It may say, because of this, you should consider talking to a provider. Would you like to schedule a visit? So again, making sure that those guardrails are such that we're taking that extra time and friction and wait times on the phone away from the clinical staff that really don't have the time to connect with patients. They're talking and engaging with the patients that are in the clinic, but be able to then summarize and provide that information to the patient. Or on the flip side, maybe a provider is engaging with a patient and has to ask the question of the unportal or the agent, how many times has this patient had strep throat? Or how many times has this patient had an ear infection? And simply using that plain language to gather the information in a quick format to be able to then move on quickly and efficiently and get on to see that next patient as well.
And the other question that also concerns people is the security of their personal data.
Correct.
How do you ensure that the AI is not giving out personal information to the wrong person?
Right. And so the actual quote unquote login process, which does not require a memorized username or password, uses really three types of identification between the cell phone number that you are currently using. So only the cell phone number that you provided, and then acknowledging that it's the cell phone number that you are responding from, in addition to that confirmation of last name and date of birth. And so essentially what some people kind of recognize as their personalized ID, their face ID, this is my cell phone, this is my personal device, and able to then use that to connect with the agent.
So how soon do you expect to roll this out to urgent cares around the country?
Yeah, so the good news is we've already piloted the first iteration, which is discharge documents, and that has already been successfully and efficiently rolled out within a week's time. Everybody was excited about it. More than 70% interaction with the patients in about 50 clinics in northern North Carolina and South Carolina. And then in the next week, we will be engaging with some of our enterprise clients, which are across the entire country. So those engagements will include, of course, the discharge documents. And the good news about this is that we are able to quickly and effectively create customizations and next steps over time. And it doesn't require things like big rollouts or sending, a lot of next steps and needs for our clients, because we're able to do this in a very efficient manner. So very quickly, labs are coming. Like I said, that's in the coming week with our pilots. And then more and more to come as time goes on and we continue to engage in these specific areas of patient need.
How soon will we be able to see something like this in New Jersey?
In New Jersey, well, probably within the next couple weeks, as long as there's one of our enterprise clients that says yes and engages.
Andrea Giamalva, the Chief Medical Officer with Experity, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
That's it from State Broadcast News in Cherry Hill. Back to you, Lisa.
Safety in our parks has become a hot topic with new restrictions now in place for e-bikes and other motorized vehicles. Supporters say that the changes will make shared spaces safer, while critics believe the rules go too far and punish responsible riders. It's a conversation that's raising questions about fairness and enforcement. For more on this, we turn to Alan Swanson, who takes a closer look at whether these new measures are fair and whether they can be truly effective.
New Jersey lawmakers push for stricter e-bike rules after rise in serious injuries. Union County bans e-bikes, scooters in some areas. These are just two of the recent headlines regarding the growing concern over the expansion of motorized personal vehicles across the nation. The problem is, much of what is being said and posted on media is uninformed or incorrect. I'm hoping that I can correct some of the misinformation today. First, what is an e-bike as defined by the New Jersey state law? New Jersey recognizes two types of low-speed electric bicycles, Class 1 and Class 2. Both are treated like bicycles. No license, registration, or insurance is required. Class 1 bikes are also referred to as pedal assist, which refers to having a motor up to 750 watts that is not controlled by a throttle. Assistance is provided as you pedal the bike. This class is permitted on all locations a pedal bike may travel unless there is a local restriction. The maximum speed through assistance is 20 miles per hour. Class 2 bikes are the same as Class 1, except that the motor has a throttle that can only assist the bike up to that 20 miles per hour. Any bike that can travel with assistance above 20 miles per hour is considered a Class 3 bike or moped, motorized bicycle. A license, registration, and insurance are required. But there is no way to register and insure any e-bike at this time. In fact, the major insurance companies don't offer any type of insurance for these bikes. Mopeds can only be used on roadways. You must be over 15 years old to qualify to use such a bike. That's it. Those are the New Jersey definitions of e-bikes. Anything else is not an e-bike. E-bike riders are required to follow all of the regulations and laws governing the use of unassisted pedal bikes. Those laws include the following: helmets required for riders and passengers under 17. Sidewalk usage controlled by local ordinances. Some places yes, some places no. Generally, you may park your pedal Class 1 and Class 2 bike on a sidewalk if you are not restricting pedestrians. Bike paths. E-bikes are permitted on bike paths unless there are local restrictions, and there are. Lights. At night, a white light in the front is required and a red light in the rear is required, both visible at 600 feet. A signal. Bikes must be equipped with a bell or some kind of a horn or something that can alert people they're coming from 100 feet away. And you must have brakes that work. Passengers. You can only have the number of people on a bike that it's designed for, usually one. Operation. Bikes must be ridden on the right except when turning left or going around obstacles. This is really important. Bikes must ride the same direction as other vehicular traffic and obey all the traffic signals controlling all vehicular traffic. This represents the basic requirements when riding an e-bike. For more details, you can go ahead and do a search of New Jersey laws. Now comes the hard part. Are e-bikes safe? The answer is yes. They are as safe as a car, a gun, a knife, etc. The real question is the person riding the bike safe? That is not always the case. And to address the problem, numerous laws, ordinances, regulations are being passed or proposed across the state and the nation. These include bans on e-bikes altogether, something that's not going to happen. Restricting use of e-bikes on bike paths and other path systems. I assure you, when I'm on my bike, I see plenty of pedal bike users who are riding dangerously on bike paths. Another is registering all e-bikes and getting licenses for all e-bike riders. And who knows what else is going to be coming down the bike path. I am not going to take time to debunk these ideas. It's going to be played out in the future. The data and the facts demonstrate that most accidents and inappropriate use of e-bikes involves Sorry, adolescent boys. It isn't rocket science, it's neuroscience that tells us that adolescent brains are not fully matured, and as a result, those brains take risks and make decisions that are not always wise or safe. Restricting my ability to ride my bike in many locations I currently ride on is not going to solve any problems. I can tell you from my riding, the laws that are on the books are simply not enforced. Now comes the hard part. What do I propose should happen to increase bike safety for everyone? I say community involvement, education, and enforcement of existing laws. For example, if I drive my car without a seatbelt on, I can get pulled over. If I do not have the proper lights, I'm pulled over. If I drive a vehicle that is not approved for the road, I'm pulled over and perhaps it's taken away from me. The same should apply to bicycles. If you are not riding an authorized bicycle or obeying the rules of the road for bikes, you should be stopped. If the bike is not authorized, it should be confiscated. If you're going to pass laws or ordinance regarding e-bikes, please get the community involved and provide classes in bike safety and bicycle awareness for everyone. Examine the procedures you and your police department follow and be sure good practices are being implemented in your towns. Most important, you parents, before you purchase or allow your child to use an e-bike, e-bikes and all the current devices used on the roads are not toys. They demand training, situational awareness, excellent safety awareness, and rapid decision-making skills in high-risk environments. You must be certain your child demonstrates the maturity and safety awareness necessary. Are they prepared to travel in traffic and among pedestrians? Are they cautious or are they risk takers? Their lives and the lives of others may very well depend on the decisions you make as parents. In conclusion, this is not an issue that's going to go away. The issue is growing and it's extremely tough, and we're just beginning the process of looking at this. We will be hearing so much more about this in the future. For Real Good News, this is Alan Swanson. Thank you for watching.
We hope that you enjoyed this episode of Real Good News, and we will be back on October 19 with another episode. Until then, I'm Georgette Castro with a reminder that real good news is worth sharing.
Now, a lie is halfway around the world. For the truth can put on its pants. Tell the truth. So my mission without fail is helping you prevail. You got to give the truth a fighting chance. Tell the truth. Beauty's truth, truth is beauty, and it's my civic duty to always write a reality. More than love, money, fame, more than rip on your good name.
I'll tell you something else about the truth, it will
Set you free on the road to truth you take. There's only two mistakes. Don't go all the way or don't even start.